Hey everyone, it's Aquila, and this is a Lefty Knitter podcast. Welcome to my channel. This is episode 76. Today is July 28th, 2020. Yesterday was my mother-in-law's birthday. Happy birthday! We sat and had cake with the little one over a Facebook Messenger chat video call. She was very excited. My little one. I mean, my mother-in-law too. You can find me on all the links down below on Instagram and Ravelry and all the places. We have a group for Lefty Knitter podcast. I'm currently, hosting a Birthstone Cow 2020. And all the rules are in the Ravelry group. There's a thread for finished objects and a thread for all the chatter. I don't have a huge following. I have some people in there. Thank you to those who are actually joining and participating. I have enjoyed seeing people's stuff. I had planned on making another item. I did finish my item. I actually finished my item for my knit-along. Some podcasters I know fall behind and whatever else, and I was afraid I might do that, and that's why I don't host these very often, because I just want to do my own thing. I don't join in on a lot of knit-alongs either. I just want to do whatever is at my whim. Is that the right wording? Yeah. Okay. So you can check that out. It ends on August 6th, and there are 2 prizes for the finished objects thread, and both of them are $40 gift cards to indie dyed yarn companies. One is Fully Spun by Brooke, and the other is Rising Tide Fiber Company, and that's Melissa. So I wanted to support our indie dyers during this time, and I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to pick what you wanted. I just thought that was fair. I like that idea. So I did it. If you are new to this channel, welcome. I know I've had a lot of viewers on my channel. I've had comments on some of my older videos. I had a comment on one of my first videos and I was like, whoa! So thank you, Leslie, from Not Quite Enough Yarn podcast. We've talked about each other on our podcast. She bought a circular knitting machine too, and she's been cranking out some things, and that viewer came from there. So welcome, welcome, welcome to any new viewers, and always welcome back to my reoccurring viewers, because I appreciate you. I love reading the comments. I love commenting back. Sometimes it might just be a like and a heart until I have the time to get to it, but I always comment back to my comments. I don't know what would happen if I had like a huge subscription viewership and I had more comments. That would be a lot of work, but I'd be willing to try it. Just saying. So, like and subscribe. This is a weekly podcast, and so I video clips throughout the week of different things. It might be some food stuff, not often. It's more knitting, it's crocheting, it's anything that's usually fibery goodness or crafts. And yeah, so I post on every Saturday. I try to get it up early. That doesn't always happen. And I also try to keep them at a minimum length. So between 30, 45 minutes. Because I have a lot of podcasts I watch, and sometimes I have to watch them on double speed because I want to get more of them in. So I never realize what some of these people sound like until I listen to them in regular speed, and I'm like, holy moly, they don't sound like a chipmunk. Sorry. All right, so my hands had been hurting, so I was power knitting. I swear it was like, I was really going for it on these 2 sweaters, and my hands started to hurt. So I've been working and doing some stuff on my Addi king size knitting machine, and I had some ideas to make some things that I've not seen made on the knitting machine, but I wanted to try it. So if you're on social media, you may have been tagged by your friends saying, oh my God, can you make this? And oh my God, isn't that cool? And blah, blah, blah. I know it happens to me. I know it happens to people that are crafty. It just happens. So recently, and maybe not so recently, because I think this has been going around for a long time, there has been a picture of a scarf, like a wide scarf, almost like shawl-ish, really long, has fringe at the bottom and pockets. I'll insert picture here. I thought, oh, could I make that on my knitting machine? And I could. So I was testing something out. I had just recently acquired some yarn from Michael's because they were having a huge sale on like Caron cakes. Yeah. And so I had one left that I hadn't used to make a tube cow yet. And I was like, well, let me just see what I can do with this. Now, when you're making stuff on these circular knitting machines, they curl because it's stockinette, right? So it's flat stockinette. So you get the curl. My Zojirushi is ready, if you can hear that. It's a machine that keeps your water hot, so I have tea and coffee water at all times. So I cranked this as a flat panel on my knitting machine, and then I decided I was going to drop down stitches strategically in this so it would flatten out more. It still curls, but it is much more flat. The Caron cakes are not enough yardage to do this. So I think it needs to be, so my reasoning behind dropping the stitches was to also make it wider, because if I didn't have these drop stitches, it'd be much skinnier, but with the drop stitches, it really puffs out. It makes it a lot wider. I think it still needs to be wider, and my bind off was a little tight at the top, but, so this Caron cake was called Funfetti. That's a weird name for this color. That's okay. So here's some of the colors. I still have I didn't want to cut my yarn because I wasn't sure if this was going to work, and so I didn't cut it. So I still have it attached on the one end, but I did drop it for the most part. Let me stand up and show you guys how long it is. So it also, if it was blocked, because it would stretch out and be wider, more shawl-like, but it's still not long enough to add the pockets. I think it needs to be down here further, and then pockets, and then you add the fringe. So experimenting with this was great, because now I realize I might want obviously more yarn, but I might want to crank the full size panel and then drop even more stitches, because I did like every 4th and 5th stitch I dropped them. I didn't drop all the way down, obviously. I was just experimenting. So yeah, or not drop as many stitches, but see, if you don't drop the stitches, you're gonna get it's gonna curl. It's gonna curl. Here is a flat panel I'm making for another sweater, which I'll talk about. But if you don't see how it curls a lot. And so if you don't do something to make it not curl, it's not gonna give you the effect that you want out of this shawl, scarf, pocket, warmer thing. I don't know what to call it. Scarf with pockets. Shawl with pockets. I don't know. So, or make 2 panels that are this size, the same length, seam them together, drop the stitches, and then it's double wide. Like, that would be pretty amazing size-wise. I mean, look at that. That would be really wide. That would be definitely go down around your back, shawl, hug type thing. It's just that it wasn't enough with this, but I was attempting to see what it would do when I dropped the stitches like that. And I think if I used a yarn that had more wool in it versus acrylic, although this does have some wool, I don't know how well this blocks out. I've never blocked a Caron cake, so I don't know. I guess I could do that before I ripped it out and see how well it stays. But I think the idea is there. And then I would make the pockets and sew them on and add the fringe, and boom. I can crank out these panels. I cranked this out in like 30 minutes. So 2 panels and 2 pockets, I could crank out probably in an hour. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm crazy for even attempting this? I don't know. I was just trying to think of other things you could make on this. I mean, because obviously you can make flat panels and you can make tubes, and I'm currently making the Pixham sweater by Jimenez. Can't think of her name. But I'll be showing you that. I have all my panels made. Eek. Yeah, I should just show you now. So I showed you one of the panels, right? So all the panels look the same. 2 of them are wider than the others. I was having so many issues with making flat panels. I've gotten better at it. I've watched more videos. I've taken my time, and I have learned my machine. I think one of my problems, though, I am using Lustrous Lamb. This is one of the other colors I have. My sweater is going to be in the tan, not the brown. Lustrous Lamb, and it says it's a size 4. Well, I thought size 4... I thought the Caron cakes were 4s. They're 4s, and they are actually thicker than this yarn, but on Ravelry, this is considered an Aran weight. Now I need to go look up what the Caron cake says it is, because it says it's a 4. I'm not logged in right now. My computer's right here. So I don't know if the Caron cakes are also considered a 4, but I thought maybe that was my problem. Or because it's kind of slippery, you can kind of see the sheen on it. Maybe that was part of my problem. It was slipping on the machine. I don't know. I was having so many issues, and then I had to take a break, clear my head, zen myself out, right? And then the next day, I went back to my machine and I cranked both out with only restarting 1 time on the second panel. I put on some music. I just went to town. Considering though, I have now measured that sweater out. Let me pop in some footage here. Okay, I'm working on the Pixham cardigan, pullover. And I think I need 2. This is terrible. I have all 4 of my panels done. So these are knit on my Addi circular knitting machine. This is just waste yarn, and there's waste yarn on both ends. So the pattern called to crank so many rows, but my row count versus how many inches I should have is not correct. So I'm gonna pin this out on my mats. I only got 1 mat. I wasn't thinking. I need 2 mats. To go get another one. So I'm going to go get my other mat, and I'm going to pin this out. Because this yarn is an acrylic wool mix, I am not worried about wet blocking it. I'm just going to kind of pull it taut. The sweater's oversized anyway, and I'm going to then count how many rows I need to be the inches that it calls for in the diagram. Because that's really the number you want. You want the inch amount. Like if it says you're like 20 rows or 3 inches, you want it to be 3 inches. It don't matter about the row count at that point. So I'm gonna do that, and then what I'm gonna end up doing is probably ripping back some rows and making all of my panels the same number of rows. The pattern, I'm not gonna give it away. It's a paid for pattern. I was gifted it, but you have to have a certain number of rows, a multiple, to do the braiding that happens on the front and the back. So I need to make sure whatever I rip out to, however many rows that is the multiple of that number, just so I know I can do the braiding correctly. The next part is seaming, and I'm really worried about seaming. I don't do a lot of seaming. I haven't done, well, I shouldn't say that. I've done a lot of seaming. I have done a lot of seaming that I feel like doesn't always look great. And I just don't, I was just talking to the person that gifted me this pattern, and I was like, I don't want it to look too homemade. I mean, it's gonna look like a handmade sweater, because it's not gonna look like something probably like a machine bought in a store. But I just don't want it to look too handmade. Like, I don't want it to look like my 5-year-old seamed it. So I'm gonna go get that other panel, and I'll show you guys the yarn blocked out after I do that. So I have it fully laid out and measured. My panel is definitely bigger than it needs to be. It's almost six inches bigger. So I'm gonna be ripping out 27 rows. Yeah. Yep. That seems a bit excessive to me. It could be the yarn I'm using is not quite the same weight that it it calls for a worsted. This is a 4. I don't know. I don't know. It also could be I was putting tension on it or not enough tension. I don't know. I don't know how the numbers seem to be that far off, because I feel like it's very far off to match the rows per the inches. So I guess I'll just make them all the same row count and start seaming them together. I'm very nervous about this. So now that you've seen that footage, I've actually got some feedback from the designer. Super nice to even reply to me about it. I'm not going to go by how many rows the pattern says. I'm definitely going to go by the inches. That is why she provided both in the pattern, so I'm grateful for that. So if I go by the inches, I'm ripping out like 20 rows. That's okay though, because I want it to fit. It's supposed to be oversized, but I don't want it to be way oversized. I mean, then I'll just feel like it's baggy and not like, I can't think of words. I don't want it to look ill-fitting. I want it to look the way it should fit, even if it is supposed to be with a little bit of positive ease on it. So, yeah. I need to seam it together, and I'm actually a little nervous about it, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it soon. And hopefully, maybe in this video, you guys will see some of the seamed panels together. Like I said, I have to rip out all of those I have to rip out 20 so rows on all those panels, and then pick up the stitches and have them on like some sort of live needles, because I think I'm just gonna put it straight onto some sort of needles versus putting it on the waste yarn. You know, I'd rather have it on that versus, because I'm just seaming it, so I don't need it to be like on the right size needles. It can be on any size. And I have a ton of interchangeable needles that I can just slip on there. So that's what I'm gonna do. Eek! I need all the positive vibes for seaming. All right, so this has been a long first clip. Sometimes that happens, because I might have not much of anything else to show on this episode. Hey guys, it is Wednesday, July 29th. I've worked a little on one of the sweaters, but what I have done mostly is I've prepped the Pixham sweater. And I have a cat. Of course I have a cat. So I've prepped my Pixham sweater for seaming, which this is the sweater I'm making on the Addi Express. I can't win. Luna. Sorry. Okay. I have taken all the waste yarn off of the 4 panels on each side. So there was 8 balls of waste yarn. I picked up the stitches so I could unravel so many rows. So now all of my panels are the same amount of rows. Oops. And I kind of just threw it all in this box because I didn't want any of my cats to be attacking it. And I showed on my Instagram live, not Instagram live, but on my Instagram stories, I busted out the big guns, my straight needles, to use to hold my stitches. So these are now my panels. This is one of the top panels that goes across the top. It still looks awfully long, but it is the measurements, and this is part of the sleeve. So So I was just counting my rows with the stitch markers, so I had the same amount on each one. I'm gonna lay these out and I'm gonna attempt to seam them. So you do like this decorative kind of seam on the front panels, on the front and back on this seam here. I'm nervous. I just don't want it to look sloppy. That's like my biggest fear. But okay, I'm at lunch, so I'm gonna pop on some music, I think, or a podcast, and try to seam these, and maybe I'll video a little more once I finish doing that. And you can see what I've done. Okay, yeah. Okay. I'm not quite sure if this is right. I'll show it to you. The instructions in the pattern do say you'll have a ridge on the back, which I have, and you won't really see the decorative stitch unless it's like really pulled in the front. I don't know. Okay, so it's awkward now because I have it on the needles like the way I showed you guys. So I gotta lift up 2 sets of straight needles in a weird, awkward way without losing the stitches that are still on there. So maybe I'll hold it like that. So there is my seam, and it's not quite like a mattress stitch seam. Wish I could really show this a little bit different, but I can't. So I'll show you how I can do this. That spot right there looks really sloppy, and I don't like it. I don't know, guys. Then there's that little seam that I expected on the back side. Don't know. I'm just gonna keep going with it, I guess. It's not like tied, so I can undo it if I figure it out better on the next 2 panels. Although in the pattern pictures, I did notice that seam, and I was like, oh, is it supposed to look like that or whatnot? And it is, because in the pattern, because I read it, you are supposed to see that little bit of decorative seam. I'm so confused. It is now Saturday, August 1st. July is like the worst stressful month ever for my job. Our fiscal year end is July 31. Technically, they don't even like us taking off in July because of that. Well, June and July because of the craziness that happens. And yeah, Monday will be July 32nd for my job. It's just how it is. We joke that there's, July, did I say 22nd? 32nd, July 33rd, July 34th. You know, I need to pause. Sorry about that. Always interruptions in this house. It should be called the Interruptions Podcast. I've put some rows onto my Catbells sweater. Yes, it's called the Catbells sweater. I'll show you that right now. And I'll put a new marker on because I did put one on to show you my progress from the last time. This is really the only thing I've been hand knitting in the last week. Doing a little bit of the seaming, like I said, I've done no more than the one seam that I showed you in the last clip, but I have put on some rows in my Catbells. So I was where the red stitch is, and now I'm down there. The last time, the episode before that, I was here. So not terribly bad, almost the same amount of knitting. Yeah, so I'm getting there. It's still not quite where I would want it to be. Obviously, my shorts are here, but it will grow a little with blocking. I'm gonna knit to what it says. I haven't measured it lately, and I can't remember how many inches I have to do. So I'll probably have to be doing that soon, so I have an idea of where I'm at with this. But yeah, so I have been putting, sometimes it's 2 rows a night, and sometimes it's 6 or 7 or 8. It just depends. I had John try on his sweater. He said it's itchy. Did I say that? He said it's itchy. Okay, so the cat's out of the bag, right? It is. I have a new co-host, and its name is Erlbacher Gearhart. Just kidding. John will still be my co-host when he comes on. But yes, only if he wants me to. He's screaming from the other room. He's gonna come on. I just wanted to show you guys this because it takes up some space. This is not its permanent home. So this is the Erlbacher Gearhart Speedster machine. I got the basic package. This has, you can pick from 3 colors. I got it painted green. That was one of the basic colors you could get. I had quite a meltdown yesterday with it. There's a learning curve, and there's a lot of knobs and tension and this and that and adjustments that you have to adjust to make it work for you, and I was having some issues. So this is not its permanent home. This is just a TV stand that we had that I've attached it to because I couldn't wait to, crank some stuff on it. I'll put the video here. I did a bonus video. It's on my YouTube channel. It's the one that's going to be posted right before this video, and it's just called Bonus Video, I think, or Bonus, I don't remember. But it's all about getting this machine and how excited I was. But, alright, so it is pretty awesome. It's hard to see probably because it's a green machine and on a black card, but there it is. I bought extra cones. I have all this scrap yarn that I'm playing with. This is the waste yarn that came with it. And yeah, so I've been playing a lot with it lately, and I'm excited. All of Hazel's Legos are down there. I took over the top. Let me adjust this back again. So yes, I'm super excited. I know I am very lucky to be able to purchase this, and I talked about that in the video, so if you want to hear about that more in detail, check out that video. I just wanted to show you the first day I got it, I hooked it up, and I was cranking, and I was like so excited. And this is an old Felici color that I had. I don't know if it tells you the year that they came out. This one's called Paradise. And yeah, I don't think it does. I mean, I've had this for a long time, and when I bought it, I bought one. What was I thinking? Why would you buy one ball of Felici? Well, back then I didn't know what I was doing, because I'm pretty sure this is probably like 6-7 years old. I don't even know. But I cranked my tube. This is the waste yarn I just showed you on that cone. Yeah, and it's pretty long. And if I cut it in half, I could get some shorter type socks. I would use obviously some of my scrap yarn that's over there to do some heels, toes, and cuffs on it.
Not here.
Yeah, you are here. Can you be quiet for just a second so I can talk about the other thing that I cranked? What is this thing? Do you know what it's called? Okay, now in English. Is it a earmuff machine? No. Okay, what is it? It's a circular sock machine. This was the other one. I had bought this Patents from Michaels. They only had one ball of it, so I did buy it thinking I could make some shorty socks. They'd be really short socks because that's folded in half. So I might just wait till I get a coupon and buy another ball of the same color, because this is not a discontinued color. It's called Clover Colors. And I like it. I'll show you. So there you go. I think that's really beautiful. But it's definitely not long enough for 2 socks for an adult. And I bought the 64 stitch cylinder, so they'd be too big of a sock for this one. So I think I might just end up buying another ball of it and making some nice full-length socks for somebody.
Does it smell like lamb?
Does it smell like lamb? It smells like a sheepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did we get that from?
I bought it at the store. So Patents Croy FX. I had some issues with my machine yesterday. On Friday, I attempted doing a heel right after I did this, and I was decreasing and I was doing okay, and then it jammed and I had to get this off very carefully, so it's very, you can see that I was going in the round as a tube. And then I started decreasing for my heel and it was working out fine, except it jammed and I didn't know what I did, and I had to get this off.
The lady told her, and then we fixed it.
Yes.
When it was bedtime for me.
Yes, it was a very nice lady. We talked on the phone, we video called, she helped me work through some things with my machine. I had posted on the
and the girl helped her fix her machine.
Yes, yeah. So
and this piece was sideways, so that's why
it wasn't knitting right. Yeah. The tension, somehow the tension had gotten turned up way high and it was just not, it wasn't working. So I had went on the Erlbacher Gearhart Facebook page and posted a picture, and a ton of people, yes, I see you coloring, a ton of people responded, and just in general, like, this community can be so wonderful, right? So people were helpful, people were nice, and then I talked to the woman I actually talked to on the phone when I purchased this machine, who works for the company, and got me back up and running again. Amazing.
look.
Amazing. Yeah, nice. All right, well, I'm gonna pause here and I'm gonna get Daddy in here. Cool? You want me to say bye?
Get in pause, and Daddy's gonna come, and you can see my butt.
No, nobody wants to see your butt. All right. Well, you're gonna have to wait till the next episode. My mom is on her way, and because of that, John's like, we're not gonna have enough time to talk, and I ramble on, I guess. I don't know. So he was like, no. But I'm gonna pop in some footage after I say goodbye. He was making his lavender oil, and I took a little video of it, so I'm gonna put it in here. So you'll get to see him for like a few seconds. So I hope everybody's staying safe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the encouragement. And I hope you are just as excited as me to see the journey I go on with this. And comment down below if you do want to see things that I'm making, or just progress videos, or even just me attempting to make heels and probably getting very frustrated. You might even see me cry. Just saying. Put it down below. So until the next video, knit happy, y'all. What are you doing, Bobo?
Playing canasta.
Playing canasta? This doesn't look like canasta. You're draining the oil you put into the lavender and praying that that oil smells as strong as the jar.
See.
I guess we'll find out. Looks like a lot of it's out.
Yeah, but it's still dripping good, so I don't want to just stop it now.
Oh, I know.